This video features the best brawlers need to be playing in March 2026. With the meta finally settling in, let's take an updated look on the best brawlers in the current meta. Alright guys, the first brawler we're going to be talking about is going to be Bo. Now the good thing about Bo is that he can control lanes with his long range spread attack. Bo's main attack fires 3 arrows that spread out and explode in small areas when they land, letting him hit enemies across a wide space instead of just one line. This helps him chip enemies and pressure lanes from a safe distance. You should aim where enemies are moving so the arrow spread covers more space and is harder to dodge. Now what's also really good about Bo is of course going to be a super to trap the enemies and deal a lot of damage. Bo's super places 3 hidden mines that explode when enemies trigger them, letting him block paths and protect objectives. With Snare a Bear, the mines stun enemies and Tripwire lets Bo detonate them instantly for surprise traps. You should place mines near choke points, bushes, or important objectives. Now what's also really good about Bo in the current meta is that he can counter aggressive brawlers with this trap and vision build. Bo is strong against aggressive brawlers because Circling Eagle lets him see farther into bushes while his mines punish dives. Sneaky brawlers like Leon lose their surprise attacks, and tanks or divers can get stunned by Snare a Bear when pushing forward. This makes it harder for aggressive brawlers to safely rush Bo's team. Alright guys, the next brawler we're going to be talking about is going to be Frank. Now Frank is solid because he can control space with huge shockwave swings and his massive health. Frank has extremely high health and his main attack sends out a wide shockwave after a short delay that can hit multiple enemies at once. His attack delay also gets shorter as his health drops, letting him swing faster in longer fights. You should push enemies back in tight areas and swing where they must move so the wide shockwave is harder to avoid. Now personally, one of my favorite things about Frank is going to be his super to stun the enemies or break important walls to help your team. Frank's super sends out a larger shockwave that stuns enemies and destroys obstacles, which can instantly turn a fight if multiple enemies are caught. The active noise cancelling gadget helps him avoid getting interrupted while attacking or using his super. You should use the stun when enemies group up or when they try to push an objective. Now just like with Bo, Frank can counter a lot of aggressive brawlers due to his health and stun build. Frank is strong against many aggressive brawlers because his huge health lets him survive their attacks while his stun stops their pushes. Against assassins or tanks that rush forward, active noise cancelling helps him keep attacking without being stopped. This lets Frank punish close range pushes and shut down aggressive plays. Alright guys, the next brawler we're going to be talking about is going to be Leon. Now the good thing about Leon is that he deals high burst damage at close range. Leon's main attack throws blades in a spread and the damage is much higher when enemies are close because more blades hit. This lets him quickly burst down targets if he gets near them while still poking from range to charge his super. You should use bushes and walls to approach enemies before attacking so more blades land for maximum damage. Now one of the big reasons why a lot of Leon mains love using him is because of his invisibility super. Leon's super turns him invisible for 6 seconds, allowing him to sneak up on enemies or escape. Enemies can still see him if he gets very close, so positioning matters when approaching targets. Smoke Trails increases his speed while invisible, while Invisiheal restores health during the super for safer dives. Now Leon is a great counter to a lot of the top squishy brawlers in the game because he can use his super to get close to them. Leon is strong against many powerful long range or fragile brawlers because his invisibility lets him bypass their range and attack suddenly. Smoke Trails helps him reach targets faster, while Invisiheal gives him better survivability during fights. By sneaking through bushes and attacking from unexpected angles, Leon can quickly eliminate key enemies before they react. Alright guys, the next brawler we're going to be talking about is going to be Spike. Now Spike is great because he can control space with his exploding cactus attack. Spike's main attack throws a cactus that bursts and sends spikes outward, letting him damage enemies even if the main hit misses. This makes him strong at poking and hitting grouped enemies from a safe range. You should aim near walls or choke points so the split spikes are more likely to hit. Now one of the reasons why Spike is probably one of my favorite legendaries of all time is because of his super that can control fights. Spike's super creates a thorny area that damages enemies over time and slows them while they stand inside it. The slow makes it hard for enemies to chase, escape, or hold position during fights. You should place it on objectives or in enemy paths so they get stuck taking damage. Now Spike is a very solid damage dealer and control brawler, kind of like a hybrid, so he's going to be a great way to counter a lot of top brawlers in the current meta. Spike is strong against many tanks and aggressive brawlers because his super slows their push while his attack deals heavy damage if they get close. Curveball helps his spikes hit more often, while Life Plant can block shots and stop dives. By slowing enemies and pressuring them with spikes, Spike makes aggressive pushes much harder. Alright guys, the next brawler we're going to be talking about is going to be Ems. Now what's solid about Ems is that she can control space with her wide spray and stack damage. Ems' main attack sprays a large cloud that damages enemies over time, and she can fire another spray before the first one disappears. This lets the damage stack if enemies stay inside the cloud. You should aim at paths or objectives so enemies are forced to stand in the spray longer. Now a little bit like Spike, Ems' super is going to be a great way to control fights and just slow down the enemies. Ems' super creates a large area around her that damages enemies over time, and the slow makes it hard for enemies to chase or escape during fights. You should use it when enemies push towards you or group near an objective. Now again, similarly to Spike, Ems is a great way to just use her build and mechanics to slow down the enemies and just deal a lot of damage. Ems is strong against against many close range and dive brawlers because her spray punishes enemies from moving forward, while her super slows them. Friend Zoner can push back enemies that get too close, and Hype helps her survive longer during fights. By keeping enemies at mid-range and controlling space with her spray, Ems makes aggressive pushes much harder. Alright guys, the next brawler we're going to be talking about is going to be Bull. Now Bull is really good in this meta because he can win fights with huge close range shotgun damage. Bull's main attack fires 5 shotgun shells, and the damage is much higher up close because more shells hit the target. His high health also helps him survive while getting into range. You should use bushes and walls to approach enemies so Bull can land his strongest damage. Now kinda like with Frank, you can use Bull's super to like destroy bushes, walls, but it's a great way to help him get closer to the enemies. Bull's super makes him charge forward, damaging enemies and destroying obstacles along the way. His trait also allows him to charge his super when he takes damage, so he can use it more often in fights. You should use the charge to break walls, rush key targets, or escape after a close engagement. Now Bull of course is going to be very strong because of his buffies like the other brawlers, but he's a great way to counter a lot of squishy and aggressive brawlers thanks to his aggressive build. Bull is strong against many squishy or aggressive brawlers because his health lets him survive their attacks, while his close range burst can quickly defeat them. Tough Guy helps him stay alive when low, and Stomper lets him stomp his charge and slow nearby enemies. By approaching through bushes and using his build to win close fights, Bull can punish brawlers that rely on staying at range. Alright guys, the next brawler we're going to be talking about is going to be Pierce. Now Pierce is still very good because his long range attack gives safe pressure and extra value on hit. Pierce's main attack fires a very long range shot, and if it hits an enemy, it drops a shell next to him that he can pick up to reload and fire a piercing shot at the nearest target. His last ammo also deals extra damage, which makes his pressure stronger when timed well. You should always stay at a long range, land shots first, and collect shells safely to keep his ammo cycle going. Now I really love playing Pierce and using my super when enemies are like trying to run away or hide behind walls. It's just such a great way to catch enemies off guard. Pierce's super marks an area and fires homing shots at enemies inside it, which also drops more shells for him. With Mission Swim possible, it slows enemies hit by his last ammo shot, making them easier to hit again. With You Only Brawl Twice, it can absorb nearby shells to give Pierce a shield and knock back enemies around him. With You Only Brawl Twice, it can absorb nearby shells to give Pierce a shield and knock back enemies around him. Now if you're ever playing on like an open map or like a game mode like Bounty or Wipeout, you gotta be running Pierce. He's definitely one of the best brawlers for those situations. Pierce is strong against many long range brawlers because he can pressure them from long range before they get close. Again, with Mission Swim possible, it slows enemies trying to push forward, and You Only Brawl Twice helps him survive dives. By keeping your distance and using his build to stop rushes, Pierce can punish aggressive brawlers that rely on closing the gap. Alright guys, the next brawler we're going to be talking about is going to be Bibi. Now even though they did fix Bibi's bugs and glitches, she's still strong because her bat controls space and knocks enemies back. Bibi's main attack swings in a wide arc, and when her home run bar is full, her next hit knocks enemies back. The bar charges when all 3 ammo are full. The bar charges when all 3 ammo slots are full, letting Bibi threaten space by just holding her attack. You should save the charge shot to push enemies away from objectives or stop aggressive dives. Now not only is Bibi super good because it's long range and can bounce off walls, it's a great way to just finish off enemies that are trying to run away from you. Bibi's super sends out a bubble that travels far and bounces off walls, allowing it to hit enemies multiple times in tight spaces. Home Run gives her extra speed when the bar is full, while Batting Stance provides a shield instead. Vitamin Booster can also heal her over time to help her stay in fights longer. Now of course, the only reason why Bibi is like this high in the meta even though she got nerfed is going to be because of her buffies. Now Bibi is strong in general because against many close range brawlers, her charge swing pushes enemies away before they can stay on top of her. Batting Stance and Vitamin Booster make her harder to burst down during fights. By holding a charge bar and using knockback to control space, Bibi can stop a lot of aggressive pushes. Alright guys, the next brawler we're going to be talking about is going to be Crow. Now Crow is so strong and irritating right now because his poison gives constant pressure and healing reduction. Crow's main attack throws 3 daggers that poison enemies, dealing damage over time and reducing their healing while poisoned. This makes even small hits valuable because enemies keep losing health after the attack lands. You should keep tagging enemies from range so they stay weakened and easier to finish. Now also consider the fact that Crow has great control and mobility, and that just makes it so much harder to kill him. Crow's super lets him jump over walls and throw daggers when he takes off and lands, which helps him dive or escape. Slowing Toxic can slow poison enemies, while Extra Toxic reduces the damage they deal. You should poke enemies first, then use the slower jump once they are already weakened. Now with a lot of like other assassins, tanks, or even support brawlers, Crow can basically counter all of them. Crow is strong against many aggressive or healing brawlers because poison chips their health and lowers their healing. Extra Toxic also reduces the damage enemies deal while poisoned, making trades safer. By constantly spreading poison and using slows to control movement, Crow makes strong brawlers much easier for his team to handle. Alright guys, the next brawler we're going to be talking about is going to be Sirius. Now one of the reasons why Sirius is so strong because his attack hits in 2 different ways. His attack Binary Star throws a star bomb that explodes in an area and can go over walls, while the Shadow Strike flies straight and hits one enemy. This lets him pressure enemies hiding near walls and enemies in open space at the same time. You should always aim where enemies are moving, so both parts of the attack have a better chance to connect. Now definitely one of the most broken things about Sirius that needs to be nerfed is going to be his Shadow Super. Sirius collects a Brawler Shadow on every 4th damaging hit, and his Super Shadow summons releases the shadows he stored to fight for him. He can also command the shadows to follow him or guard an area, which helps him control fights and objectives. You should build up shadows before a big fight, and then use the super to overwhelm the enemy team. Now I know I get a lot of people telling me this, that Sirius basically has no counters, and technically yes, he has no hard counters, and that makes him the most broken brawler in the game. Many strong brawlers rely on rushing or dodging, but Sirius can slow them with A Star is Born and collect shadows faster with the Darkest Star. When he summons shadows from strong enemies, he adds more pressure to the fight. By slowing pushes and releasing shadows during fights, Sirius can overwhelm even the most aggressive brawlers. Well, anyway guys, if you guys enjoyed that video, I highly recommend you go check out this video right here.